Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Addi and this is Judge a Book by its Cover Part 2. So last week I started my series of videos that I'm doing over the Sequoyah Book Awards for the coming school year, and I am super excited about it because the Sequoyah Book Program and the Sequoyah Book Awards were something that I participated a lot in when I was younger, and it was a really big reading program at my school, and so it really fostered my love of reading and also appealed to my competitive nature because if you finished all the books on the list, you got to go on this trip at the end of the year and all kinds of stuff. So I had a great time reading a whole bunch of those books, and when I saw that my library had put those up, I decided that I was going to do some videos on them and try to do the reading challenge, all the way through April of next year. So that is kind of what's going on. There are 45 books across the 3 different lists. So we have the children's, the intermediate, and the high school. This week's video is on the intermediate one, and so I'm going to be talking about the 15 books that have been nominated for the Sequoyah Book Award for this year. Without further ado, we'll be talking about the first book, and it is Orange for the Sunsets by Tina F. Addi. This book is very busy. I am a little distracted by what's going on. So there are pictures of different things, there's a little town or something. Focus. There's a town in that one, and then there's country kind of type imagery down in the bottom one, and all of that combines to just kind of distract my eyes a lot. I'm not getting a very cohesive idea of what's going on because I'm just what is happening here? But other than that, looks like we have people of color here on the cover, and this one is reaching for this person, and so they are being separated for some reason. I have no idea what that reason is, but that is kind of what I'm getting from this cover. I would have to definitely read the summary to see what's going on. I'm intrigued enough that I want to know what is going on with this book, but it is very distracting. If I were just to choose a book solely on its cover, this would not be one that I would pick up because it's just so busy. The next one is This Promise of Change, One Girl's Story in the Fight for School Equality by Joanne Allen Boyce and Debbie Levy. And this is what this one looks like. This is going to be a nonfiction story just from the title, and I love this art style. I think that's really cool, very funky and very fun, and I'm really glad that they chose that art style. These outfits are amazing, so cute. But yeah, other than that, this is obviously going to be a nonfiction book about segregation in school systems, and that's relevant at this moment in time. It should be relevant at all times, but it's particularly relevant at this moment in time, and so I think this is a great book to have chosen to put on this list. Definitely want to read that one. The next book is New Kid by Jerry Craft. It looks like this. The art style on this is so cute. I love that. That's amazing. I love the blocking. We've got the black and the white, and it just is very clean and crisp, and I enjoy that. He looks like a new kid. He looks like he's confused about what's going on, and I think the story is just going to be about him being a new kid. The next book is, this is straight out of YA, man. This is a YA cover. It is called Stepsister by Jennifer Donnelly, and it looks like this. This is clearly a fairy tale retelling of Cinderella somehow, and it's a little sinister. It's got blood dripping off of some glass up there after the shoe is shattered, and dripping into the bottom of the shoe. I don't know what's happening, but I'm intrigued because I love fairy tales, and Cinderella retellings are really great. I just read Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and I'm all right, okay, I'm on the train. Let me send me there. There's that one. So the next one is Never Caught, the story of Anna Judge, George and Martha Washington's courageous slave who dared to run away, and it's written by Erica Armstrong Dunbar and Kathleen Van Cleve. And this is a very classic children's illustration kind of type style. Again, this is a story that probably needs to be told at this moment in time, and I'm glad that they put this on there. I hope that this is handled well. I'll just have to read that one and see what it is and how I feel about it, and I don't know. I'm a little skeptical of how I'm going to feel about it. It's not giving me a great vibe, but I shall see. All right, so the next book is Focused by Alison Garber, Alison Garber, and it looks like this, and I think this book is going to be about ADHD. I think our main protagonist is going to have some issues focusing and really just trying to learn how to deal with that kind of type way your brain is working, and I think that's going to be really great, and I hope that the people that need to read this can and recognize themselves in this will be able to do so. I hope it's handled well, and that you know, there's like some positive representation of like ADHD and the components of that. So that's that one. All right, so the next book on the list is Allies by Gratz, and I have zero interest in reading this because it's a war story, but this is what it looks like. I would maybe have gravitated towards that as a child because I liked war stories when I was younger. I liked learning about different, you know, like historical things, and like wars are a really easy thing to gravitate towards because there's a lot of literature and a lot of movies and stuff that deal with that, but I have since grown past that and I'm not really interested in that anymore. But this is about D-Day. I would have to read this to like see how I actually felt about it, because there are good ways to handle war movies and war stories and war books and stuff like that, and then there's like not great ways to handle it, and I don't really know how this one's gonna fall. All right, so the next book is Reaching for the Moon, the autobiography of NASA mathematician Katherine Johnson. And this is Katherine Johnson of Hidden Figures fame. Yeah, this looks amazing. I've been wanting to read this book actually for quite a while because I watched Hidden Figures and I thought it was interesting. And so like I went and looked for it and I just never picked it up or anything like that. So I will get to it because it's on this list. So I'm super looking forward to that. Oh, crazy, like when I watched Hidden Figures for the first time, they were like talking about calculators and how like people were calculators, and I was just like, oh my gosh, or like computers, like people were computers, and I was like, that is a thought that does not connect to my brain whatsoever. Like, thank you for showing me that, because that is not something that I would have ever considered to be a thing. So that's that one. The next book is It's the End of the World as I Know It by Matthew Landis, and it looks like this. So I think this is going to be a doomsday story. I think it's going to be kind of a light take on a doomsday story, hopefully. I am not a big fan of the bunker people, so, you know, that's kind of where I'm at on that one. I'm sure there's some nuance in this, though, because he looks a little stressed out. So that should be interesting. I don't know if I would read that in general, just because that's not a story that kind of interests me. The next book is A Good Kind of Trouble by Lisa Moore Ramey, and this looks so cute. I love the cover of this. I love her backpack. I wonder what's going on. She's got like all kinds of activist patches and stuff on this. Hello, focus. There we go. And like, look at that backpack. You go, girl. I want to be her friend. That's what I want. And yeah, that's that one. The next book is Our Castle by the Sea by Lucy Strange. This reminds me of like one of those coloring app things, like the color palette that's chosen on this book cover, like super reminds me of those. But anyway, this looks really fun. There's a lighthouse. I love lighthouses. I lived in Maine. And like, it's a castle by the sea. I wonder if they are in charge of running a lighthouse and that's what's going on there. Yeah. Cute little flower. There's something, I wonder if this is like during World War II or World War I or something like that, because there's some battleships and some planes and stuff going on back there. I bet this is historical fiction, and that this is going to be a story of them living at the lighthouse while all of these sea battles and stuff, these naval battles are happening around them. Okay. The next one is A Time Traveler's Theory of Relativity by Nicole Valentine. Super interested in reading this just from the title, and then like that cover is so much fun. I want to read this. Like, they pulled me in with the title right there. That's amazing. I have no idea what's happening, but it's clearly a time traveler's theory of relativity. Is this gonna be like full-on science fiction? Let us hope. And we also, like, it looks like there's like a boy and then maybe like a little sister. What if we're getting like a labyrinth kind of type situation where like he's lost his sister and now he has to go find her? The next one is Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga, and this one I've seen around. This is probably the one that I've seen around before, and this book just looks good. I'm so glad this is on this list. Like, people should be reading this. I don't know anything about it, but it just looks like it's going to be good, and it looks like something I would pick up. Hello, focus. Thank you. Beautiful. Absolutely fabulous. Other Words for Home. I'm like already hurt. That feels like a title that is going to hurt my feelings, and I feel it. So there's that one. All right, and then the next book we have here is Genesis Begins Again by Alicia D. Williams, and this is what it looks like. This looks good. That's a dynamic cover right there. And like, and then it's got all those medals on it. We have the Coretta Scott King Award. We have a William C. Morris Debut Award for Finalist by the American Library Association, a Newbery Honor Book. Like, yeah, I'm ready to read that. Whatever's happening there, I'm ready for it. All right, and then the next book we have is Pay Attention, Carter Jones by Gary D. Schmitt. And there's a lot going on in this cover. There's like a dog and a teddy bear and a whole bunch of stuff, and you know, I wonder if we're getting another ADHD story. Because Pay Attention, Carter Brown sounds like somebody that might have ADHD. But yeah, from the cover here, we've got the family. I think maybe the dad is in the military. Yeah, it just looks like there's a lot going on. There's a cricket, like the game of cricket, a cricket book back there. So that is going to be interesting. Like, I wonder what the deal is there. I'm intrigued. I'm ready to read that. That looks cute. So, okay, I think that might be the last one. That is the last one. So thank you for sticking with me, and I will be back again next week with another 15 books to judge by their covers. That's gonna be it for today. I hope you liked this, and if you did like it, please hit like. If you really liked it, hit subscribe, and if you would like to see the 15 books that were on the Children's Sequoyah Book Awards nominations, those are gonna be in this video somewhere around here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.